Something coming faster than any of us can imagine and will change our lives in the most dramatic ways is AI.
And while AI used to sound freaky to me and just something that was going to take over my world, it really would have revolutionized my practice had I stuck around. Many of you know, I got so burnt out from charting. It was the big reason I left medicine because I was frustrated with the EMRs, the clunkiness, and the amount of time it took to learn them. Not only that, but not being able to sit and connect with the patient and look them in the eye, like one-on-one while you're actually interacting with them. The whole reason we went into medicine, not to do paperwork.
Yeah, so that's why May and I have started working with Lindy.ai, which is fascinating. They help you produce the most efficient notes, fully customizable, which is different than some other AI products. So you can do what you do best, which is see patients and let the artificial intelligence scribe do the dirty work for you.
Yeah, not only do you get the perfect patient notes the way you want, written in any format, for whatever specialty you're in, and maybe you're in ophthalmology or vet medicine. It will also create the note, scribe and send the patient follow-up instructions, referral letters, consultation notes. It's amazing. Lindy is offering our listeners a 7-day trial to experience the difference of their AI medical scribe. Go sign up at lindy.ai/BS free to get started. That is Lindy, LINDY.ai/BS free.
Finally, a source of raw, real, and honest information on healthcare issues that matter most. Welcome to BS Free MD. From the latest medical information to how to stay sane as a doctor or a patient, no subject is taboo, no BS is allowed. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Doctors May and Tim Hindmarsh.
All right, we're live, and we're both outside in decidedly different climates.
All right, everybody. So glad to be here. I haven't seen Tim for a long time. If you're having trouble hearing me, it's because there's becoming storm-like winds up here again tonight. I am doing this special thing for Tim because he wanted me to do the show outside in the flipping snow. Look at, and it's actually pretty icy. I think it's 22 degrees here, dropping down to like 19 to 20 tonight. The roads are really slippery. Lots of accidents. We got way more snow overnight. But Tim's coming live from Florida, where it's a balmy, 80 degrees?
Yeah, it's still 80, and like you can look at our nice, right there by the pool. Got our pool lights going.
I'm right by my pool. See, it melts and we swim in it. Actually, ironically, this last week, my sister lives by a little lake. I posted some pictures. The ducks were on there because it was frozen. Over the week, it got nice and warm. I was wearing like a sleeveless shirt and a light sweater. It was 60, 65. Yes, I wear sleeveless at 60. Canadian came back in me. But the ice went off the lake. Well, it's still off, but now it is. Like, look at how much snow is on top of the barbecue. And there's my wine. And you know what? Yes, today my girlfriend Vicky sent me this funny post about someone putting their Dr. Pepper out in the snowbank to chill it. And I wrote back and said, that's not actually a joke because we would do that growing up. We would put our beers out in the snow. They would freeze with the nice ice cork top. So look at, I'm chilling my Quail's Gate Old Vine Red Blend in the snow. And I'm going to share that tonight on DOCTALES. How about you?
I'm sorry, I can't get over it. It's so funny. I'm drinking vodka and lemonade, and I found a new vodka from Miami, local, called 11.
Ah, nice. Well, I can hardly wait to taste it from my backyard. Last night, though, I did sip on some Smirnoff, raspberry Smirnoff, everybody. So that with lime is great. On the rocks, we went to Leo's Tavern, and I think I posted a picture that I was watching my team, Tampa Bay, play. Tampa Bay Lightning play Toronto. They smoked them. Hockey's always on here. And so we went out. We didn't have poutine, but I'm going to go back for some poutine. We had some wings. It was wing night. had a nice cocktail, watched Tampa play hockey. Super fun. So
They're in
I'm
the
happy.
playoffs.
I know.
The first round they play Florida.
So I might have to get my jersey. I should have wore it here. Anyway, this is the craziest episode I've ever done. All day, I've had to borrow clothes from my sister because I did bring my own coat and hat and gloves, but I had to borrow shoes. I've been wearing another coat on top of this. It's ridiculous. So this is, this happens in Canada. And Tim's sister happens to be here in the city as well, visiting her in-laws. It was a coincidence. I got to meet up with your sister and brother-in-law, and she does not have any snow boots, so she is mostly housebound. Anyway, super funny. So I don't know, tonight on DOCTALES, there's so much we could talk about, but honestly, I'm not going to stand out here for much more than a half an hour because I don't love you that much to do a whole show that long out here freezing my little Florida ass off. Although it's pretty surprising after a day of this, how much the Canadian girl in me is really kind of gotten used to it again. And I'm like, I couldn't live in this forever, but honestly, for a little bit, it's like, whatever. I grew up in this, we lived in it. It kind of comes back to you where you're just like, this is how we live, whatever. But I'm up here, if a lot of you listening or watching don't know, because of my dad, who went into the hospital suddenly. And my sister works out of town a lot. And she and I, both taking care of dad. So I flew up to help oversee things in hospital while she was out of town, and she just got back today, but she was gone for the week. And man, quite the experience. And I think we could do and will do a whole show on this. I'll just touch base here with you, Tim, a little bit. I know we've been sharing, but so bizarre. So dad is doing okay, if everybody's wondering. He's 80, almost 88, fell. And then it's the worst thing, for any elderly person to do is have a fall in the middle of the night, got admitted to hospital for all the investigations. And he is starting to really decline quickly, especially in the last 6 months from dementia, and he knows it. And I'm writing about that in this week's Truth Serum. So I hope you will all sign up for that if you haven't, and we'll tell you how to do that at the end of the show. So dad is doing well, but things in Canada don't run on American timelines. And the hospital where he's at, not only is it where Tim and I did our training in medical school, it is, I think, still got the same paint, furniture, beds, and process as when we did medical school back in the 90s. I even found some photos that maybe Desiree will post or put up in the newsletter from when we were in school there and all the remarkable things that happened, including when they dropped the first MRI into the ground in July of 1992. And it's on the wall there in the mall, the RUH. So I was like, wow, that picture looks so ancient. Like it actually looks like back from the World War II era. That's how old we are, dating ourselves.
Well, it's 32 years ago, and that's when we got married. And we've been married a long time.
So the other thing, of course, is I go back, and everybody from the internist to the nurses to the physical therapists and occupational therapists all look like they're 30 years and under, and I feel like an old fogey, and I'm not that old. And I just watch all this thinking, oh my gosh, these kids are so young. But on that note, dad's doing better, and we're making plans to get him discharged next week. And it's been a joy to really be here and help him out in a different light. But for those of you who wanted to escape the American health system and run to Canada, or have heard it's free healthcare and it's so great, oh my gosh. Like I said, I want to do a whole show on this, but let's just say, and I'm not wasn't joking when I said the situation with the Royal University Hospital, which is the flagship hospital here, the teaching hospital, is a sad state of affairs. And from the moment I got there to see dad, and was amazed to find him, he's actually in a makeshift area that they developed when COVID happened for extra beds, it's the old emergency department. I recognized that when I got down there. I'm like, oh, this was Emerge, right? And it's literally cubbies. They're doing, I think it was like a storage unit. Now they're doing some construction on it, but they house overflow patients in there. And it really is a curtain with a bed. There's nothing plugs into the wall, so there's no call bells. You literally have a old school metal bell, teacher's bell. Of course, our kids said it's the Hector Salamanca bell, if you've watched Breaking Bad. And I said that to one of the nurses. I said, my dad had that Hector Salamanca bell in the basement, and they literally started laughing because they've seen the show. But there is urinals on the floor, urine on the floor, sharps containers like open, stuff hanging from the ceiling. And he got shuttled around. I mean, it's in the basement. There's no TV, of course. There's no windows. There's nothing other than lying in this bed. And it's really horrible for someone who's already delirious and old and demented and on their own. But when he got up to the medical floor, it was just as bad. He literally was shoved into a hospital room, and to make room, they put you on the end of the room with a curtain. And so Dad, again, no windows to see out, no TV, no communication, very noisy. But at least he got to share someone else's hospital room with him. So they had a bathroom between the two of them, because another poor gentleman was literally in the hallway on his bed, incontinent. I actually, unfortunately, walked through it on the floor when I was walking Dad, and just the setup there. It's just they just put him in the hallway.
Okay, so how much of it is? I remember. I mean, I've obviously been out of the Canadian healthcare system for 35 years. How much of it is a lack of infrastructure, and how much of it is a lack of funding? Because I remember back in the day, they would open an entire hospital, like when they built the city hospital in Saskatoon, the new city hospital, and then they opened this, 500, 600, 700 bed hospital, whatever it was, and then they closed 2/3 of the bed.
Yes, you're right.
They had, just hang on, because they had a capital budget, but they had no operating budget. So people need to understand that there's a clause in the Canada Health Act, I think of 1976, that talks about how you have to spend money on things people can see. So if you want federal money to flow to your province to fund your healthcare, you have to have like capital projects people can see, but you don't necessarily have to have operating budgets. So for a long time, they operated with basically no operating budget and only capital budgets. So they'd build hospitals, they'd open the hospital, they'd cut the ribbon, and then they'd close all the beds.
Well,
so is that still kind of what's going on?
And I don't know. And it might be. It's hard to say. Heather, actually, I'd like to do a show with her, and she said she'd be happy to come on. That's my sister, who still works. She's an ICU nurse. We had her in this show podcast before, talking about COVID and her experience. And she's working up north, but does shifts in ICU still here. She has a lot of information on that, and she said that basically the budget and how they spend the dollars isn't wisely spent. If they actually conferred with the physicians and the nurses on how to use the money, then it might go a little further. But for instance,
they're politicians. They're politicians. They don't take care of patients. They take care of votes. So they spend money based on votes, not on patient care.
And how many years ago was that we came up to Saskatoon? I did a fundraiser for the new children's hospital here, Jimmy Pattison's Children's Hospital. It's beautiful. It's attached. They spent all this money on it, raised money. It's a state-of-the-art children's center. It's gorgeous, but it's allocating the funds. And so I think there's not like there's no funds, but it's how they're using it. The other thing is, I talked with
Well,
I wait.
didn't Jimmy Pattison spend like $1 billion of his own money on that?
I forget.
Or like it was like
We'll have to look it up.
We'll have to look it up because it is
but
staggering.
but as far as getting into the nitty gritty of the the financials and how it's run, I can't speak to that. We'll have to do our research or have someone on, and I think we should look for different people. There's there's a few books I've seen out in the bookstores about healthcare system written by people on both sides of the aisle. So I think we should try to find both sides and see what they think. But here's the thing that is important. So my dad was in, and it's not like it just happens in Canada, but he didn't see a physician. He basically laid in an ER bed first for 2 days before he got shuttled out to this one closet area, as my sister called it. I didn't see it, but by the time I got here, he's in the second space. He didn't see a doctor for 3 days. It was he came in on Friday night, got seen Monday, and then my experience is that it took me a week before I even got to meet a physician. I talked to someone on a phone, the social worker on the phone. She's been helpful. Dad, didn't get a shower for a week. What else can I say? I mean, the state of the conditions of everything are so run down. The care, he's got all these tests ordered. He's been in the hospital. It's going to be over 2 weeks. And he lays in bed and waits for a test. He doesn't get walked every day. He's getting weaker. The food is good. He likes the meals. But you just lay in bed and wait for tests, and then the doctors don't do anything until the tests are done. And on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, nothing happens. No tests, no physician visits, no PT, OT, just nurses, and hope your family comes in, because time stands still.
Oh, yes.
So
an unbelievably great song by the Canadian band Rush.
Yeah.
What they should be playing is the Soviet national anthem. I am so hot now, I think I might have to get in the pool. Like, I'm still...
Well, I'm kind of getting used to this weather, I must say. Cheers. So I think, that's a little hint of what's going on. But now where he's at, this is his 5th bed in a week. They keep moving him, which is not really great for someone who's confused, but this is what's happened. I've actually finally talked to the intern. I'm not even sure if he's the physician or a resident, but it's the internist. And it's very confusing because, he's not sure what the geriatric team is doing. And the primary problem that caused Dad to fall, which is getting up to the bathroom every 2 hours and having troubles with his bladder and his dizziness, is not even really addressed. They've done a bunch of tests, but I had to ask for the answers. You don't see anybody. It's just really bizarre. Anyway, thanks, Nancy. Good to hear from you.
Oh,
and I love your picture. I didn't even recognize it. You're all blonde and you look so young in there. So anyway, Dad'll be doing well. So he's staying in hospital. Oh, the great thing about Canada is, though, they take their time and they won't release you from the hospital.
Yes.
Unless they can find a bed for you. And so he would probably just continue to stay in the the hotel hospital until his placement is ready.
The Bates Motel. But at least it's the safe Bates without the weird shower scene. No.
Now here's this horror story. So when I was visiting your sister and brother-in-law, and I was over at Larry's family's house, Carolyn, who was a previous CCU nurse, told me this horror story about their father, who needed to go and get a test, an MRI. He was in hospital at St. Paul's, so they had to transfer him. Yes, people, transfer to another hospital for the MRI. In this little, they call it the buddy bus transport. Well, the buddy bus broke down and they were going to be late, and it's a long story, but finally he got there on time in this wheelchair, and the screws and bolts came out while they were wheeling him out. Carolyn was really concerned, and she's like, "Is this thing going to hold Dad?" And the guy's okay. Oh yeah, this happens all the time. No biggie. And he's holding this pile of hardware in his hand, and they rolled him into the entrance, right where the entrance is, with a security camera there, and all the wheels fell off the wheelchair, and Howard went on his ass. I think the bunny bus driver kind of caught him, and Carolyn promptly got on the phone and called the CEO of the hospital and got a hold of him, got through. And she threatened, I don't want to tell her story, but she threatened a suit unless they got 75 new wheelchairs in 2 weeks. And she had photo proof, and it got done. So that's really sad.
Yeah, I don't know that
has to happen.
Threatened. I think I'd have just done the deed.
Anyway.
Because, good for her. That's awesome.
Really good for her. But
like the wheels falling, like all the wheels falling off the wheelchair, like in the hospital, is the greatest metaphor for the Canadian healthcare system in the history of mankind.
Right in the entryway. And she said, if we have it all on video, the security guard is right there.
They have it on video?
No, the hospital did because of the cameras were there.
Can they get the video?
Probably they won't release that to you. She doesn't have it, but the hospital does.
But I know her. We have to get that video.
That's a great story, but it's so sad. But thankfully he was okay too. But honestly, here's another example. I was going to save this. So my dad is in hospital, and I was there with him visiting one afternoon, and I knew he was going to get an eye exam. They wanted to check his vision. Well, all of a sudden, I thought it was an orderly comes along with a wheelchair, and then his nurse comes in and says, your dad's going to go get his vision test. And I said, okay, great, wonderful. And he's like, we got to hurry. His lunch had just come, and he's like, no, he doesn't have time to eat it. And I said, well, let's make sure we save it so he can eat his food. Well, Dad's wearing some sweats and a sweatshirt and the hospital socks, the green shamrocky little hospital socks, and he's like, hurry. And so we're like, okay, we put him in the wheelchair, and the courier's there, and he's like, all right. I said, can I come downstairs, or what floor is he going? Oh, he's like, well, he's not going downstairs, he's going to City Hospital, which is across town, across the river. And I looked at this poor RN, but fresh out of training, and there was a few other things that were done kind of ridiculously, but I said, if my father is going outside and to another hospital in this weather, shouldn't he have maybe some shoes and a coat? And maybe we should send him with a cell phone in case something happens. Oh, that's a good idea. The courier, I don't think he spoke much English, and I was starting to think I should go, but Dad's like, oh, I'll be okay. I said, you call me when you're there. Well, he got to City Hospital, and it was sad, and I'll share this later, but courier disappeared, and demented Dad was trying to check in at administration by himself, and that was really horrible situation. So this is the kind of things that happen on the regular.
But people have to understand, you talk in these vernaculars that no one understands. You have to understand this. So the university hospital is on the university campus in Saskatoon, which is spectacularly beautiful. And if you walk to the parking garage and look across the river, you can see the city hospital, which is maybe 1.5 miles away, maybe 2 miles away. Okay. So why did they not just put all of the infrastructure in one massive center and then have another hospital further, on the, northeast side, which would be St. Paul's? No. They can't do this. Every fiefdom has to maintain its power, right? And it's completely insane. Like, it makes zero sense. You have a medical school. You have a medical school, university, hospital. Put all of your resources there. You have a state-of-the-art NICU, all of this stuff, right? No, they divide all of this stuff up. This is in a city.
Like, of how many people? 200,000?
300,000 at its absolute max.
With 3 massive hospitals.
With
and
3
all
hospitals.
Stuff split up. It's stupid. Yeah.
Why do you have 3 hospitals for 300,000 people? Like, absolutely tell me that. But
because
votes,
it's votes, and before we get into like all that nitty gritty that people, I guess that's more minutia for this area where we live. The big thing is people think free, like healthcare is covered. Everybody gets healthcare. Things are paid for, your drugs. Yeah. No. Here's the sad thing. My dad lived in Canada all his life, and then moved to the US with us for 7 years. He moved back and he was 85 and could not get private health insurance in addition. So that, why would he need that, you'd say? And yes, you can get some private coverage in Canada. Well, to pay for your dental, to pay for your drugs, to pay for your walker, or to pay for your other incendiaries, because no, everything is not covered in Canada. So my dad pays for his prescriptions.
Incendiaries?
My dad pays
for highway flares?
My dad, a basic walker, I think he can get, the metal ones. But if you want anything else, you're paying for that. Hospital, ambulance have to ask about ambulance. But dad hasn't been to the dentist because he has no dental coverage. So he's putting that off, and lots of other things. No, it's not covered. There's no chiropractic covered, all that type of PT, OT. It depends who you're working for. People pay for this stuff. So, and the medical care, I'm biased, but what happened to my mom who got cancer, and it was this long drawn out, sad story of getting a diagnosis. And when she did have a diagnosis of systemic cancer and got discharged from the hospital a week later, was put on the waiting list to see oncology and died before she got an appointment, which was 3 months later. So
yeah, but no, whoa. The irony of that is I answered the phone because our home phone number was the oncology number.
Yes.
And they said, we have an appointment for, Barb Burgess. And I said, oh, that's nice. She died yesterday. Thanks, yeah. Canada. Click.
So anyway, let's do a show with, we'll get Heather on. We can talk more about the financials and logistics and stuff happening. But because I'm not going to stand here much longer because it's starting to get colder and snow more.
I know. And I'm getting so hot, I might have to get in the pool.
But I thought I would share some other fun things because we were shopping. Yeah, I'm choosing to ignore you. Do you all notice that? Okay, it's funny because I sent you an article about somebody who's moved up from Texas to Montreal, and he's young and he really liked it, but is moving back to Texas now, this millennial, he says, because he misses the cheaper cost of living as well as his family and forget the weather, but he's happy with the healthcare. I'm thinking, yeah, wait, because you're young and your kids are healthy, wait till you get older. It's going to be sad. Well, I was bed shopping today and I'm getting my PhD in beds because since we moved to Florida, poor Tim, my husband here, you have hated, well, he's had a back problem. And so we got this expensive deluxe bed, adjustable bed, the bells and whistles, and it's not supposed to be memory foam, but I kind of wonder. Well, anyway, I am hot in that bed and uncomfortable, and
you're hot everywhere you go.
No, it's trapped
heat.
You're
smoking hot.
So that's
deal with it.
I've been spending money on sheets, cooling sheets, bamboo sheets, toppers. I got a Cuddle U wool mattress topper that's supposed to, keep the heat away from me. And now it's super soft. I feel like it's electric shocks touching my body when I lay on that thing. It's weird. Not electric shocks. That's not right. It would be like when you have a sunburn on your skin, that kind of feeling, and whatever's touching the bed seems to heat up. Anyway, so we go bed shopping to get my dad a new bed that's adjustable and it's firmer. And we're in there today. And I learned that not only do the coil spring mattresses, they fold on adjustable bases. Everything fits on adjustable bases the way they're making mattresses now. You can almost not see a box spring for sale anywhere. They're all on a platform. But coil spring mattresses do adjust to. But they had these really cute signs on clouds hanging up in this mattress store, and I took some photos of them because they had some really kind of cool fun facts about sleep, and you know how we're always raving about how important sleep is to everybody in our audience, and talking about it being like one of those 3 pillars of diet, exercise, and sleep. Check this out. Okay, koala bears need 22 hours of sleep a night. Imagine that. I thought cats required like 22 hours of sleep. I could be wrong.
Okay, whoa, hang on.
Koala bears sleep.
Hang on.
22 hours.
They sleep 22 hours. And remember our unbelievably great episode, I think it was episode 93 or 95 with Anthony Chafee. He talked about how essentially all of the koala bears in Australia have chlamydia.
Yes, that's right.
So that's basically the greatest thing in the world you could be reincarnated as is a koala bear, because you sleep 22 hours and you do the other thing that gives you chlamydia for 2.
That's pretty funny. Well, they do all things in bed then, right? What a life.
Like other
than eat, don't they eat eucalyptus leaves or something?
Yeah. So they have this unbelievably, amazingly enticing breath because their breath smells like eucalyptus. And then they do their business for 2 hours and then they go back to sleep. You know why? Because for 2 hours they were trying to get chlamydia.
Awesome. Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny.
Like 2 hours of that, 22 hours of sleep. That's a pretty fair trade.
But they're so soft and cuddly. I remember my cousins used to live down.
That's why they have chlamydia. They're soft and cuddly.
I'm like, that was pretty fun. Okay, here's something else I learned. Only 12% of people dream in black and white. Before color TV, it was 75%. Do you dream in black and white?
No.
Or color?
I'm still.
Do you even know?
I sleep so good in my new bed.
You don't even dream?
No, I dream to a point where I wake up and I have no freaking idea where I am.
Yeah, I haven't been dreaming lately, so that's a bad sign.
Or at least
I don't remember.
No, I wake up and I'm like, oh yeah, I live in Florida. It's weird because it's super weird because I almost have more connection to where I have not lived for 35 years. I almost have more connection emotionally and mentally to Saskatoon than to Oregon, where that was the peak of our career, raising family, like all the stuff that makes kind of your life.
Well, maybe it's because of that bed that I hate. I don't know.
Maybe it's like infused with psilocybin or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, get this. The average person spends how many years of their life dreaming, not sleeping?
Oh, 25. Easy.
6. Apparently it's 6.
Nah, that's bullshit.
I thought it would be longer.
Nah.
And what's the ideal sleeping temperature for the body? Do you know?
68.
This is debatable, but
69. Guaranteed.
Your ideal temperature for your bedroom is 65 degrees. Now, that's a little chilly. I like it closer to 68 degrees, which is 65 is 18.5 centigrade Celsius. Sorry, I'm old school. But I would say 68, anything around there. It shouldn't be much higher because it gets a little warm and you don't sleep as well. But I just really want a bed that doesn't trap my body heat. We can discuss that later. I was laying on all these beds at this Sleep Firm place, and man, it's fascinating. I mean, different kinds of fill, fluffy and soft and foam, where you feel like you're being pulled down under into quicksand and all that. Yeah, it's kind of nuts. Okay, you know what? I have one other fact for you, and then we're gonna have to go. Oh no, actually I'm wrong. I don't have another sleep fact. That was it. My battery is almost dead because I'm outside channeling my Wi-Fi, my earbuds, and my computer's so cold, it's going into torpor. So if I suddenly disappear, everybody, or I cut out, it's because
you have to go in because it's so cold, and I might have to get in the pool because I'm so hot. Okay, I'm gonna finish with one thing. One thing. If you want a new show to watch Fallout on Prime. It is not for the faint of heart.
And what has that got to do with BS Free MD, my dear?
It has to do with awesomeness. We will do the backstory on why I understand that game. That is a funny, medically based backstory. But they have done an amazing job on this. It is basically a horror movie, so it's not for people that are squeamish, but holy moly, is it good. So with that, I'm done.
Oh, wait, I thought you had one other fun thing. You saw a patient today that was so inspirational to you. Why don't you share that with everybody? That 91-year-old.
I want to be really careful about. Okay, so this guy's 90. He's still.
It was what he said when he hurt himself. That was pretty cute.
He's
91.
I saw a guy that was 90 today. Complete professional, still practicing his craft. I won't tell you what it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it is an advanced degree to get this. He fell down and hurt his, chest. And I'm like, okay, so does your chest hurt? And he goes, of course my fucking chest hurt. I fell down. I'm 90. And I'm like,
I don't know. I just thought that was funny.
I said to myself, you, my friend, are a genius at 90, and you have become my spirit animal. You are my spirit animal. And I mean, now
that's inspirational. That's inspirational.
I told him, I said, you are an inspiration.
At what? You're at 58 and you're almost 60. Oh, we still have a lot of time left. So go back and get your law degree, Tim, and kick some ass.
Yes. But it's fascinating because it's fascinating because I said, what did you do? He said, I never stopped. All the things I liked, I never stopped doing.
Yeah.
That is the formula.
I guess
like, if you love walking, keep walking. If you like golf, keep golfing. If you love practicing medicine, keep practicing medicine. If you love tennis, keep playing tennis. That's the key. The key is never stop doing what you love. Amazing. This is why I practice medicine still, because I meet people that freaking blow my mind. They blow my mind because they're so amazing.
That's inspirational. And that means
never stop doing what you love. Never
I'm going to start sanding furniture in the garage condo.
No, see, the part of that is you never stop doing what you love, but you don't go start doing what your spouse hates.
There's got to be compromise. There's got to be compromise.
Yeah.
All right. What's on the podcast for this week? Who's coming out? I think we have Kyle. Kyle from. I don't want to make a mistake on his last name. Is it Clausen?
Yes.
From Resolve. Is coming to talk about the importance of contracts. And if you're in medicine, this is more pertinent to you, but it's really a great conversation on the importance of reading anything legal. So that's all I'll just say.
No, he was really good.
Sponsor. Yeah.
And I have kind of been an evangelist to the residents and other young providers I work with. And I'm like, check all this stuff out.
Okay.
You kind of don't know what you don't know until you talk to somebody that knows what they know. And Kyle is one of those guys, completely awesome.
Well, everybody, if you can't see, I'm getting super wet. My Raynaud's is telling me it's back. My computer's wet. My wine is getting watered down, and my battery is about to be dead. So I've been so happy to bring you this special episode from the colds of Canada, just for you, with my damn lupus and my fingers rotting off.
Well, I'm going to pour another drink and watch some Fallout because it's amazing.
And I'm going to measure the snow.
I might have to get in the pool because I'm kind of hot.
I'm going to measure the snowfall. We'll keep track of it. It is currently 1 wine glass stem high, as we can all see. Tomorrow, it might be to the top of a wine glass. I love you all. I can't wait to see you back in the States, but I'm going to say, hint, hint, I might be doing another one of these episodes next week here.
It's no secret that medicine is a bit, uptight. That's why Tim and I created BS Free MD, to mix things up a little and have fun in the process. Besides, we are having these exact same discussions all the time, so we thought we might as well invite everyone to the party. If you really like us, you can get plenty more, and maybe see one of Tim's cool tattoos on our Instagram or Facebook pages at BS Free MD. See you next time.
But we try to keep BS Free MD as raw and real as possible. We can't be held responsible for any medical decisions or discussions had as a result of what you've heard on the show. We know, bummer. But the truth is, we really do care about your questions. So feel free to reach out to us by email at doc@bsfreemd.com.